Well, hello, everybody. Wow, wow, wow. I was listening to a video a creator put together of Elijah Vue's case and some video clips, and a shout out to Hunter S. True Crime. And I could not believe how many similarities between Elijah Vue and Jack and Lily and what the patterns reveal with these similarities. I found 12. Listen to this 20-minute clip with me as we point out these chilling similarities between Elijah Vue and Jack and Lily and what the patterns reveal. I'm going to play this video for you and see if you can pick out in the 23 minutes the 12 similarities that I will present to you in a slideshow at the end of listening in to this 20-minute clip. If you can tell me, if you can guess them all before I show you the slideshow, tell me below. I guessed them all! Listen up.
It was Vang who reported Elijah missing at about 11 a.m. on February 20th. Vang told investigators he went to take a nap at about 8 o'clock that morning. He said Elijah was in the room when he fell asleep, but had vanished when Vang woke up 3 hours later.
At this point, there's no evidence to suggest that Elijah was abducted, and we have no evidence that he had simply walked off.
New clue in the search for 3-year-old Elijah Vue. Two Rivers police confirmed searchers found a red and white plaid blanket that belonged to Elijah. They found that blanket earlier in the investigation. The news today is that they confirmed the blanket is his. Investigators say they found it on a rural road 3.7 miles from the apartment where Elijah was reported missing.
The day an Amber Alert went out burned into Jody's memory. But what really stuck out, how her daughter reacted.
She was calm. I think the investigators that called me that night said she was cold. Whether she was detached or in denial, I don't know. It was the mama bear, the anger, the instinct, the hysteria that was missing that it just hit me wrong.
I looked on Facebook and I saw the picture of the mother, real pretty woman with 2 kids. They looked happy. And I looked at the porch and I'm like, oh my God, that's my sister's.
This area had been searched several times, as had been reported, by law enforcement searches, by private searches, by the landowner, by air, and with various search and rescue teams. Despite all those previous efforts and throughout different conditions and changing seasons, we continued searching and even had continued searches scheduled as early as next week. What started out as a search for a missing boy is now a death investigation.
Now, that is not true yet with respect to Jack and Lily. Will it be something that comes true? I'm not so sure. But have you been able to pick out the similarities? Because there's been a handful so far and we're not done yet.
He indicated that the child was in his care and that on that morning he had gone to bed and brought the child with him into his room, closed the door, and that he woke up again at 11 o'clock in the morning and the child was missing.
The past hour, an Amber Alert for a missing 3-year-old boy.
I want you to take a look at your screen. This is Elijah Vue. The alert from the Wisconsin Department of Justice says Elijah vanished from his home in 2 Rivers, just north of Manitowoc. His caregiver told police they last saw him around 8 a.m. Elijah is 3 feet tall and was wearing a gray sweatpants, a long sleeve, dark colored shirt, and red and green dinosaur slip-on shoes.
Tuesday night, 12.
Dinosaurs. Again. Dinosaurs.
News was there when investigators collected a small slip-on shoe with dinosaurs on it outside this 2 Rivers apartment building. Investigators also going through the building's dumpster. Online court records showing the man under arrest lives in the building.
The search.
No arrests in this case yet. We're hoping and praying that that will be the case for Jack and Lily as well.
For a missing 3-year-old in 2 Rivers now moves into its 2nd day.
We don't want to think about the bad stuff that may possibly have happened to him, and we're hopeful.
Words can't explain what we're going through. I know our hearts are very heavy right now at this time. You know, we're all trying to be very hopeful.
Mother of a missing 3-year-old under arrest and in court. 12 News has learned Katrina Bauer and a man, Jesse Vang, are being held on child neglect charges related to the disappearance of Elijah Vue.
We've also not had any neglect charges come forward yet, but there still are a lot of similarities. Keep listening.
At least 2 occasions during interviews, she has provided false information on her whereabouts during the past week. She intentionally sent that child for disciplinary reasons for more than a week to the residence. She was aware of the tactics used and the lack of care provided.
It's now been 50 hours since authorities issued an Amber Alert for Elijah Vue. News Chopper 12 flew over Calumet County today.
News Chopper 12 capturing exclusive video of FBI agents in hazmat suits searching a landfill in Calumet County. Heavy machinery working near a blue tent.
Now, as far as I know, RCMP have not been out searching at local landfills.
The FBI telling 12 News they're assisting Two Rivers police in their investigation of the missing boy, but would not say what, if anything, they found.
Chief, do you have a suspect right now? And where are the mother and father in all of this?
Sorry, we're not going to take any questions at this time. Thank you.
Heartbroken relatives are desperate to know more about Elijah's disappearance.
Our heart is still so heavy about it, and we really just want him found and safe.
Our heart is so heavy about it, and we really just want him found and safe. I didn't put this in the slideshow, but is that not almost what Malaya said to a T? I don't know. You tell me.
And back home.
Day 5 in the search for a missing 3-year-old Wisconsin boy. The search effort spanning multiple counties tonight. Dive teams searched waterways in Two Rivers today, while police, FBI agents, and volunteers combed a wooded area near where Elijah was last seen. Elijah's mother, Katrina Bauer, and a man named Jesse Vang are both accused of child neglect. Prosecutors say Bauer would send her son to Vang's home for discipline.
Family and I are requesting a no cash bail. They are the last 2 to have seen our baby Elijah.
Immediately following the hearings,
so we are searching the shooting park area, upper and lower.
Elijah's relatives continued their search for the boy throughout Manitowoc.
He's just a child, and he's helpless. He's harmless, and just thinking of where he could be, what kind of state he is in, just hoping that he's safe.
To those who may have information, your assistance is just not a contribution, but a lifeline of hope.
At this point, there's no evidence to suggest that Elijah was abducted, and we have no evidence that he had simply walked off.
Sound familiar? So a boot was found in an area that was previously searched and not located in the first search, or found in the second search that wasn't located in the first search. That's also not part of the slideshow, but it's also an interesting parallel. Are you noting the similarities yourself? I'd like to hear how many you find, and then I'm going to show you the slideshow that I put together really quickly at the end of this to show you how many similarities I noted.
Rivers police say they now have a vehicle of interest in connection to the case. It's this car, a 1997 beige Nissan Altima, with a license plate that starts with an A and ends with a 0. Police have it in their possession tonight, but detectives now need the public's help finding surveillance video of the car from February 19th between 2 and 9 p.m. That's the day before Elijah went missing. The 3-year-old had been staying at the home of his mother's boyfriend, Jesse Vang, at this Two Rivers apartment building.
Movement the night before, interestingly enough, also not part of my slideshow, but a similar parallel. Movement from the boyfriend the night before. Now, we don't know in Daniel's case if it was him that was moving, but there was movement back and forth from their house.
Officials, the boy's mother sent him to that home so he could learn to, quote, be a man. Elijah's mother, 31-year-old Katrina Bauer, left her son in the care of a 39-year-old man named Jesse Vang. Vang told authorities that he was trying to correct Elijah's bad behavior, adding that the 3-year-old was afraid of him. Vang said he used timeouts to discipline Elijah, where he was forced to stand for 1 to 3 hours and required to pray. Documents also said Vang forced Elijah to take a cold shower and regularly threatened him with cold water for not complying.
Now, we have heard rumors. These are just rumors. So again, these are also not included in my slideshow. You're probably wondering, Leanne, what is included in your slideshow? Trust me, 12 similarities are included in my slideshow. But the ones I didn't include are maybe not provable, but we did hear that Daniel supposedly hung little Jack up upside down in the closet as a form of punishment, dangling from his car seat.
The boy's mother told police she left Elijah with Vang on February 12th and intended to pick him up on February 23rd.
During that week, authorities say Bauer lied to police about her whereabouts twice. Her cell phone data proves it, they say, and gives investigators a clearer picture of her movement. On Tuesday, February 13th at about 9:30 p.m., Bauer messages Vang about meeting up for sex at his apartment in Two Rivers. Hours later, during the early morning hours of Wednesday, February 14th, Bauer arrives at Vang's apartment at about 2:35 a.m. According to the amended criminal complaint, she leaves her 6-year-old daughter, who has autism, in the car alone for about an hour when temperatures.
Also, not something we can prove because it's believed to be that Jack and Lily have autism. So hence another similarity, not in the slideshow, but there it is, another one.
We're near freezing. At 3:13
Now,
a.m.
Elijah's not reported to have Elijah has not been reported to be autistic himself, but there's the element of autistic children here.
Investigators say Bauer took a photo of Elijah lying on a bed. He had a, quote, blindfold over his eyes, appears to have bruising on his jawline and neck on the left side, as well as bruising on his upper left arm. The photo was deleted at about 4:12 a.m. Data shows Bauer leaving Two Rivers minutes after that.
Okay, we have yet another similarity, and you're like, Leanne, all these similarities, what's going to be left in your slideshow? 12 more still existing, but we have another similarity here. Deleted information from the mom's phone. Didn't we hear that Malaya deleted her apps from her phone? A form of communication?
Thursday, February 15th, a photo is shared on Facebook Messenger between Bauer and Vang. It shows Elijah wearing what appears to be a full diaper, standing in the corner with his hands in a praying position. On Friday, February 16th, Bauer told authorities she left Wisconsin Dells at about 6 or 7 that evening. Phone data shows she arrived in Manitowoc at about 11 p.m. Minutes later, she called Vang and stopped at Quick Trip. Around midnight, Bauer arrives at Vang's apartment. She told authorities she saw Elijah on the couch, but he was tired. On Saturday, February 17th at about 12:30 a.m., Bauer and Vang go to Manitowoc. Vang goes into Saucy's bar alone, while Bauer goes to Quick Trip. According to surveillance photos, police don't see a child in the vehicle. Police confirmed Bauer's 6-year-old daughter stayed in Wisconsin Dells, but Elijah.
Yes, another similarity. They do an outing. The kids are not spotted in the vehicle when they're out with the kids doing an outing. Wow. I haven't even counted how many I've pointed out to you before we even get to the slideshow, and we're only halfway through this video.
Was supposed to be in their care. At 1:55 a.m., Bauer and Vang go back to his apartment in Two Rivers. At 5 a.m., Bauer leaves Two Rivers and goes back to Wisconsin Dells. About 24 hours later, Sunday, February 18th, Vang messages Bauer at 4:36 a.m., telling her she needs to trust him in his decisions to discipline Elijah, saying, quote, he did fear me, but he didn't respect me. Now I'm making him respect me. 2 days later, on February 20th, Vang calls 911 to report Elijah missing at about 11 a.m. 3 weeks later, he remains missing.
I have known Katrina Bauer longer than anyone else, as I am her mother. At this time, I am asking the court to deny any bond modification for a multitude of reasons. I understand bond is not meant to be a punishment, but as an assurance to appear. While you have access to some of Katrina's records, there are records in other states, including Nevada and California, you are not seeing. She has contacts in other states that may be willing to assist her depending on the story she is telling. Her story always depends on her audience. At this time, rather than aligning in locating her son, she feels the need to reiterate what a good guy Jesse is and is fully defending him and his actions. By aligning with him, she could potentially have access to his extended family and ability to flee the area. Katrina routinely will blame anyone and everyone for what happens without taking responsibility for her actions. It goes without saying she is incapable of making appropriate judgments in everyday life, which is likely being available for future court dates and questioning. Katrina has no ties to the community. When I asked her why she would go back to Jesse, she stated, "I felt alone." I can assure you she is well aware of resources available, but she chose not to use them. She severed her relationship with me in October of 2022, so there is no family in the area. Katrina has struggled with depression and anxiety for many years, has a history of erratic behavior. I don't feel it's worth the risk to lower her bond, especially as victim has not been found and many questions are unanswered. She does need to be held accountable for what rules out in the future, and I feel releasing her, she would be flight risk.
I feel releasing her, she would be a flight risk. That's coming out of her mom's mouth. And she also says that she suffered from depression for a long time. We also heard Malaya had depression after having Meadow. Again, not in my slideshow because we don't know this factually, but yet again, if true, another similarity. It just keeps going and going and going. We've got about 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to show you this darn slideshow I keep talking about.
I have been the victim on her verbal and emotional abuse for a very long time. If the court finds any reason to reduce her bail, I would like to be assured of my peace and safety with a court-ordered no contact and GPS monitoring.
New clue in the search for 3-year-old Elijah Vue. Two Rivers police confirm searchers found a red and white plaid blanket that belonged to Elijah. They found that blanket earlier in the investigation. The news today is that they confirmed the blanket is his. Investigators say they found it on a rural road 3.7 miles from the apartment where Elijah was reported missing.
Just about a week after Elijah Vue went missing, a neighbor here tells me police found something near County Highway B in Manitowoc County. Today, we came back after police said in a press release it was Elijah's blanket.
I think it's a sign of hope to find him around here, and I think he's going to be close to this area.
Dustin Wright was one of several people searching the area after police confirmed they found Vue's blanket early in their investigation on Goodwin Road east of Highway County B. That's nearly 4 miles from where he was reported missing. I spoke with a man who lives in the area. He tells me off camera, officials like the Manitowoc County Sheriff have done several searches in the area. They tell me the blanket is a sign of hope.
This is Wisconsin's toddler now. Everybody in Wisconsin is pretty much taking this toddler under their wing. And
I think when they found the blanket in Jack and Lily's case, that was also potentially a sign of hope that they were alive and maybe could be found. Again, I didn't put that specific part about the blanket in the slideshow.
we want to just envelope him with protection and get him back where he belongs.
Keep searching. Don't give up. Don't give up hope on a little child.
We take him to the beach. He loved going to the beach. He was just a really sweet kid.
The day an Amber Alert went out burned into Jody's memory. But what really stuck out, how her daughter reacted.
She was calm. I think the investigators that called me that night said she was cold. Whether she was detached or in denial, I don't know. It was the mama bear, the anger, the instinct, the hysteria that was missing that it just hit me wrong. And she always said Elijah was her little ray of sunshine. Her entire life revolved around those kids. I don't know what changed. I wish I could say that she relapsed. I don't even know that. Watching your kid fall is the hardest thing in the world. You always want what's best, but you can't get it. It's their life. So I don't know what broke.
Breaking story of the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Office finding human skeletal remains in the town of Two Rivers.
That body was found by a hunter on Saturday on private property. As you can see on this map here, it is smack between where Elijah was last seen and where his blanket was found.
First heard about it, I just had a gut feeling about it. I don't know why. I just did.
Kathy Hasselman works on her sister's farm just across the street from where the remains were found. She was here when investigators came and began surveying the wooded area.
It's a very unsettling feeling that there's a body over there. I just saw the crime lab truck leaving, must have been about an hour ago, heading south with the cop cars behind them.
Public records show the farmhouse across the street used to be the home of Elijah's mother, Christina Bauer. Hasselman tells me she discovered that Bauer used to live on the property through social media.
I looked on Facebook and I saw the picture of the mother, real pretty woman with 2 kids. They looked happy. And I looked at the porch and I'm like, oh my God, that's my sister's.
So Elijah's remains were found across the street from this farm where his mother used to live.
Last Saturday, Sheriff Hartwig called me immediately upon learning his deputies were responding to investigate a report of skeletal remains found by someone in the town of Two Rivers. With night falling near, the entire area was secured while a variety of resources were gathered to investigate. Ultimately, a forensic anthropologist with the Wisconsin State Crime Laboratories was able to confirm a skull and bones as human remains.
For Elijah, they did find his remains.
These are the facts that I can share. The remains were found on private property by a person getting his land ready for the hunting season. This land was not on Manitou Girl Scout camp property, but rather a thick wooded area with heavy underbrush, just to the north of Manitou. This location is just over 3 miles northwest of where he originally was reported missing.
Just northwest from where he was originally missing, just 3 miles.
This area had been searched several times, as had been reported by law enforcement searches, by private searches, by the landowner, by air, and with various search and rescue teams.
And they also had extensive searches and didn't find Elijah during the first several searches.
Despite all those previous efforts and throughout different conditions and changing seasons, we continued searching and even had continued searches scheduled as early as next week. The remains found by the hunter and recovered by law enforcement were taken to the Wisconsin Crime Lab for DNA testing to identify the person. It is with a heavy heart that I announce to you today, those remains were identified as Elijah Vue. With that news and following this briefing, the Amber Alert will be canceled.
Okay. This video is longer, but I really just wanted to highlight to you. I gave you and stopped during this video multiple similarities. Those ones we cannot prove, but here's 12 chilling similarities that we do know exist. And it's wild. 1. Search evidence, blankets. Elijah Vue's blanket was found and confirmed to be his. Jack and Lily, the blanket found, the pink blanket, is confirmed to be Lily's. Children's blankets discovered during search. And I also said and stopped to say, could have, at least in Elijah's case, given hope that he was still alive. I'm sure that the blanket being found was probably a sign of hope for some locals as well at first. Number 2, mother's silence, public statements. Elijah Vue's mother, Katrina Bauer, only released one formal statement after he was found. She never released any statement while they were looking for him. Jack and Lily's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray's, only ever released one public statement in detail on TV. A written hand note followed up, but not ever did she release more than one statement herself, and the written public statement was released by someone else. In Elijah Vue's case, Katrina Bauer's lawyer released her only statement. but the overall pattern is the disturbing or limited silence or limited communications from both the mothers in this case. Number 3, similarities between Elijah Vue and Jack and Lily. The parents were sleeping when the children disappeared. Elijah Vue, reportedly, Elijah was left with the boyfriend, caretaker, who claims that he found that he was the one that reported him missing. Well, we've heard from Daniel himself. Malaya went to bed and Daniel was left outside helping Janie with her rake. When Malaya was in bed. And also, they both woke up the next morning to report upon waking up that the children were gone. So it matches in that we went to sleep, woke up, and the child was gone. Statements from Elijah Vue's stepfather, stepdad, mother's boyfriend, and Jack and Lily's parents match. Number 4, drug use in the home. Elijah Vue's stepdad, Jesse Vang, was known meth user and had a history of child abuse. Well, in Jack and Lily's case, Daniel's known to have been a meth user. He himself has said he's detoxing, and we know that he was involved in meth and a user, according to reports made by Malaya. Do we know whether he abused the kids? Well, we know that whether he's a known abuser, we know his girlfriend came forward, and we know that CPS was involved, and there was bruises both on Jack and on Lily. So again, the match, drug environment, unsafe male figure. Number 5, the mother knew about the violence. Elijah Vue's mother admitted knowing Vang used physical discipline on Elijah. And Jack and Lily, Malaya admits that Daniel was mean and violent to her, would pin her down, and that she is aware of Daniel's violence patterns. So the match being the mothers knowingly exposed children to a violent man. Number 6, the blankets were found on a rural road. Elijah Vue's blanket found on a rural road outside town. Jack and Lily's blanket found on a rural road not far from their home. Same MO, disposal of a blanket on a rural road. Now, community response. Elijah Vue's massive search efforts. The community was devastated and very protected over Elijah. And we see that in the Jack and Lily case, where the Nova Scotia community is mobilized, joined the search recently to find the kids. And the match is that the communities both took the children under their wings. It's just so sad, so tragic. Number 8 is the estrangement from the grandmothers. We see this in a lot of cases. Elijah Vue's grandmother was just reported in court asking that the judge not give her bail, and says that Elijah's mother distanced herself starting in 2022 from the kids, from his grandmother, from her own mother. We know Belinda Gray was similarly distanced from Jack and Lily. She says that Malaya stopped coming around and stopped telling her, or updating her and visiting her with the kids. So the match is that the maternal grandparent, the gatekeeper, is isolated from the kids, from the extended family. We hear that in a lot of cases. Is that a telling sign that something disturbing is going on? Hence the avoidance with family that might pick up on it? I think so. What do you think? Number 9, this same grandmother becomes the advocate for the children. Elijah's grandmother, speaks publicly, demands answers, and tells the judge, she's my daughter, don't give her bail. Jack and Lily, Belinda Gray becomes the strongest public advocate for Jack and Lily, reported in TV interviews organizing her search with Please Bring Me Home, hiring her own attorney now, and her own private investigator. The direct parallel is that the grandmother becomes the voice for the children. Number 10, the police statement of no evidence of foul play. In both cases, no evidence. Pattern match, identical official statements, despite discerning or concerning circumstances. The circumstances in this case are just as concerning as they were with Elijah Vue. And yet there is no evidence that the police can find. Number 11, the family ties to the nearby barn or property. Elijah Vue's body was found in a barn across the street from the barn where his mother once lived. His location and his discovery was tied to his family. So the question remains, are Jack and Lily Sullivan's remains near or at the black barn across from where the blanket was found? Let's also note in the video that I showed you that the barn location, the blanket location, and the location where where Elijah lived, Elijah was found in the middle, where the blanket was found, where he lived, and right in the middle was where his remains were found. Let's compare. Jack and Lily were found here, blanket found here, black barn is right in the middle, albeit all of these locations in Jack and Lily are much closer to one another than they were in Elijah Vue. So Elijah's remains were found exactly between where he vanished and where the blanket was found. Question, will Jack and Lily ever be found? And will they be found in between where they lived and where the blanket was found, aka at the black barn? Tell me what you think about all these similarities in this case. And do all the YouTube things and like and love at the bottom for me, please, showing your support that we bring justice to these two children, Jack and Lily, that we find them and we keep them home, bring them home, and we keep them out there in the public's eye. Love and light. Thank you.